Okay, so good morning. Now, let us try to go back to our topic last time before we could proceed to the new one. So last time, sinabi ko on our discussion, the different trigonometric functions na pwede ninyong gamitin for you to solve the missing parts of a right triangle. So we have here your sine, which is your opposite over hypotenuse, your cosine, which is adjacent over hypotenuse, your tangent, which is equal to opposite over adjacent. Now, the following here, itong tatlong nandito sa rightmost part, are just the reciprocal of your functions on the left part. So si sine, ang kanyang reciprocal is cosecant. Ni cosine, the reciprocal na is your secant. And then your tangent, the reciprocal of tangent is just your cotangent. Now, how do we find your hypotenuse? How do we find your opposite? And how do we find your adjacent? So first, look at your given triangle. So by your given triangle, identify first kung ano yung sinasabi niya na angle. And then since this is our angle, this is angle theta, and here in our triangle, ito ang angle natin. Ang adjacent na sinasabi natin is always the side that is beside of your angle na hindi si hypotenuse. So what is your hypotenuse? The hypotenuse, it is your longest side of the triangle. Imagine your right triangle. Your right triangle always nga that is slanting line na. Palaging merong ganitong line. So this line, this one, which is I'm going to highlight this is your hypotenuse. Always. Kanayon nga ti hypotenuse yo is the slanting line. When given a right triangle, of course. So, if it is not your hypotenuse, tapos kaabay J angle mo, that is your adjacent. Adjacent meaning kaabay. So, since this is the side that is beside your angle, that ano kat adjacent. Now, the opposite met kat DJ nabati nga angle. DJ ada J other side or nabati nga side. DJ ada J other side of your angle. So this is your opposite side. So ang gagawin mo na lang to find out the different values is of course to substitute. So for example, nasabi ko na to last time, let's try to look at another example. So given that this is your angle or this is your triangle, now ang given angle lang natin is si theta. So if you're going to find for your opposite or for your adjacent, always remember your SOHCAHTOA. Your SOHCAHTOA is just the short version of your this one. So instead of memorizing these ones, mabalin nyo lang tang ikabes at SOHCAHTOA. So si sine stands for opposite over hypotenuse. Ni cosine stands for adjacent over hypotenuse. Ni tangent stands for opposite over adjacent. Now, if I'm going to ask you, which do you think is your opposite? So since this is your angle, the opposite na nukwa is ada J bangir. So ang opposite natin is si 3. Now, sinabi ko kanina that your hypotenuse is always the slanting one. So this is your hypotenuse. This side is square root of 10. So that is your height. And the adjacent is your 1. Now, we are ready to find for the values of your trigonometric functions. Now, sinabi niyang 6. Ibig sabihin, we need to find also the reciprocals. Pero unahin muna natin si SOHCAHTOA. Starting first with your sine theta. Given that our sine is your opposite over hypotenuse, ang isusulat natin here is your opposite over hypotenuse. Now, ang gagawin nyo na lang is to identify or sarakan nyo di value ti opposite ken hypotenuse dito'y figure. Now, ti opposite tayo ket 3, the hypotenuse tayo ket square root of 10. So, that is your value. Or no i-calculator yo, kasi what if awan that 3 square root of 10 ijay, if awan iti square root, 3 over square root of 10, ita, ano yo, pagpilyan nyo, of course, try to find for the decimal. And you can do that using your calculators. So that is just equivalent to your 0.95. So that is your sine theta. Now, wait lang. Let me just, Okay. So, we are now ready to find for the remaining values, which is limapay. Limapay tisarakan tayo. Next is your cosine theta. Si cosine naman, based from the given, it's your adjacent over hypotenuse. So, it's your adjacent over hype. Now, looking at the figure, ang adjacent natin is equal to 1. Ang hypotenuse natin is equal to 1 over square root of 10. Now, again, use your calculator para malaman mo kung ano yung exact value niya, which is 0.32. Always round your answers hanggang 2 decimal values. So next, sunod naman si tan. The tan met, it's your tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So opposite over adjacent, which is your opposite is equal to 3, your adjacent is equal to 1, so it's just equal to 3. So sine tayo equals so natin 0.95. Your cosine theta is 0.32 and yung tan theta natin is equal to 3. Now, let's go to the reciprocals. Si reciprocal is just the kabaliktaran. So, kung ang sine natin is 0.95, ti kabaliktaran ti sine is cosecant theta. So, if ang cosecant natin is equal to your 1 over sine, ang gagawin mo na lang is to substitute. Diba, sine theta tayo ket 0.95. Therefore, ipantay lang ti 0.95 dito. And then, simplifying using again your calculator, you will be able to get 1.05, which is the value of your cosecant. So, next is the kabaliktaran or the reciprocal naman of your cosine. The kabaliktaran ti cosine is your secant. So, secant theta is just equal to 1 over cosine theta, which is 1 over cosine theta is equal to 0.32. Now, simplifying using your calculators, 1 over 0.32 is just the same as 3.125. And the last trigonometric function is cotangent. The cotangent theta met is just the reciprocal of your tangent theta. Ang tangent theta natin is 3. So that is equal to 1/3 or 1 divided by 3 is equal to 0.3333. Now, we were able to find for the 6 trigonometric functions of the given triangle. Okay, Another example para we could understand. Here, ang meron dito, ang given dito is your this triangle. And then ang hypotenuse natin is your 63. So this is your hypotenuse. Ang adjacent natin is ni A. Kasi this is your angle. The angle or the side na kaabay ni angle mo is ni adjacent. So A is your adjacent. And ang B natin, of course, is your opposite. So if we're going to try and find for the value of your 6 trigonometric functions, ang gagawin natin is, again, use the SOHCAHTOA. So first, hanapin natin si sine 41. Ni sine 41, kung nanagtoy, we're going to approximate the value of the unknown sides. The unknown sides is your A and B. Kasi makikita yo, awan ti value ni A, awan met ti value ni B. So sarakon tay suda, kasano tay saraket. So sine 41, we know that sine is your opposite over height. So sine 41 equals to na iti anat opposite. The opposite tayo ket B. The hypotenuse tayo ket 63. So for you to find the value of B, i-multiply mo laeng ni 63 iti both sides, tapnon maikat ditoy. So balin nga times 63, and that would give you 63 sine 41 maikat theta, which is give you equal to B. So using your calculators, i-input nyo lang 63 sine 41. If in-input nyo data, your value would become 41.33, which is your B. So ni B tay kano, iso detoy. Naala tay ni bin. Ni nga rod A. Mabalintay maala ni A using two possible ways. Ti umuna ket kastoy metlaeng. So amo tayo nga ti given ket ni hypotenuse and then this one. So for you to get the value of A, sarakong ito'y SOHCAHTOA iti mang usar iti height ken adjacent. Ket timang usar iti height ken adjacent ket ni C, which is C stands for your cosine theta. So if you're going to find for the value of A, usaran tayo ni C or ni cosine. So cosine 41 is equal to K, adjacent over height. So your cosine 41 is equal to, ang adjacent natin is si A, ang height natin is 63. Again, we multiply both sides 63. Tap nun agbalin nga 63 cosine 41, may cancel data, agbalin nga A. And then we are now ready to find for the value of A. So tipo may antay lang again, using your calculators, i-input yun 63 cosine 41. And that would give you 40. You can double check. Tap nun amoyot pang insert. 47.55 for your A. Iso nga, tikayat na lang sa data, your adjacent or your A is equal to, naalatik tayo, 47.55. And ang B natin is equal to 41.33. Kajaydang tipinangala, usaran nyo lang SOHCAHTOA. Another one, tapos mas maawatan nyo. Imagine that you are going to find for the 6 trigonometric functions of the given of the given one. Parang natapos na natin to kanina. I see. Okay. So, nalpas tayo dito tatayan. Let's go on to our next one. Okay. So, tapos na natin yan doon sa upper part. Now, another way, which is sinabi ko na kanina, and how we could find the value of your sides is using the trigono or the Pythagorean theorem. Si Pythagorean theorem, ang sinasabi niya lang is, your hypotenuse, if you're going to square it, equal lang suna ka DJ sum of the squares of your two sides. So, ni sides tayo, makita yun to'y, si hypotenuse tayo, always ka naka-island. So nga ni C. Now, tapnon maalam ni hypotenuse, if awan suna, usarem dito yung formula. Now, numet digito'y sides iti awan, mabalin mo lang ta usarem ti formula, but, manipulaten tayo lang. I-adjust tayo lang. So, let's try to look. Basta ti kunana, we add their squares. So, for example, given that you have two sides of your triangle and missing si C. Ni C tayo, that is your hypotenuse. That is your that's your height. So ni C is at hypotenuse tayo. If C is missing and you're going to find for its value, pwede mong gamitin si Pythagorean theorem. Ang gagawin mo lang is to substitute. So C squared, kunana, get equal to A squared plus B squared. So any of these two, imabalin mong ausarin as A and B. Orayin no. So mabalin nga ni 2 ti A mo. So nga 2 squared. Plus ti bimket ni 8. So balin niya 8 squared. So now, C squared is equal to 4 kasi 2 squared is 4 plus 8 squared is 64. So C squared is equal to 68. Yung tisar-sarakon tayo is C. So tiobrain nyo no kwa is E square root yo. Tapos na ikat data. So lang ti mabati no kwan ket C square root of 68. Or, if using your calculator, i-insert mo it is square root of 68. So, agbalin mo pa nga kasta. If i-equal tayo, agbalin nga 2 square root of 17 or 8.25. So, agbalin nga 8.25. That value ni C. 8.25. Oh, another one. Ito'y met at dati value ni hypotenuse mo. Dati hypotenuse tayo nga makungkuna. Yung ti awan value na is one side. Excuse me. So, using DJ formula tayo tatay nga C squared is equal to A squared is equal to A squared plus B squared, saying nga nito or ni A mo, this A nga missing, ket ni, ay sunod ito, A squared. And yung B mo is your 5. C is your 11. So, usarakan tayo ni A. Kasano tayo sarakan ni A? Ag-substitute tayo pay laeng. We know na ang C squared natin is 11 squared. Ang A squared natin is a 1 kasi sarsarakan. Plus, ti B squared tayo ket ni 5. So, agbalin nga 5 squared. Tatan, 11 squared is equal to 121. A squared, kastalata, kasentimet mo, plus 5 squared is equal to 25. Now, for us to find for the value of A, iyakartay ni 25 ijebangir, tapos agbalin nga minus, kasi plus dito. So, 121 minus 25 is equal to your A squared. So, 121 minus 25 is equal to 96. Ngam ni 96 tayo, a squared pelaeng. Kati kasapulan tayo ni a. So again, for you to tapnon maikat DJ square na, IMG 2 ij nga to ni a, squarean tayo tapnon maikat. So nga agbalin nga ni a tayo, ket equal to square root of 96. Ngem, if sarakin nyo manen using our calculator, it is square root of 96, square root of 96. That's square root of 96, okay? If e equals tayo, that's equal to 4 over what? It's equal to 4 over 16, or 4 square root of 60, 4 square root of 6. Now, no i-ano tayo, wait na. If i-change tayo so na into decimal, I mean, that will be the value. So 9.797958971. Ngayon no i-substitute or i-round off tayo, agbalin niya 9.80. So therefore, ni A tayo, it equal lang so natin 9.80. Okay? So now, okay. So DJ makun na nga Pythagorean theorem. Usaran tayo laeng detoy nga equation. Ni c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Wherein ni c tayo is your hypotenuse. DJ liplipatan DJ. Your c is your hypotenuse. And then we can now find for your values of trigonometric functions. So for example, you're going to find for the value of sine 30. So imagine or say that this is your triangle, that it triangle tayo. Sa rakom kano ni sine 30, the first nga obraem is to find the 30 degrees. So this is your 30 degrees. Now this x here is your hypotenuse. Teka, abay na nga side is your adjacent. And j na bati nga side, that's your opposite. Now, kung natin tatay, we can use your so, ka, to, wa. So, pag sine, ang gagamitin natin is your opposite and hypotenuse. So, sine 30 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So, the opposite tayo, the value na ket x over 2. The hypotenuse tayo over x. Now, x over 2 all over x ket equal so na iti kastit lang na x over 2 times 1 over x. So, makancel no kwa, deta dua nga x, so tilang mabatin ket 1/2. DJ ti x tay tatay, ket no ag-divide tayo, iti kastoy anak ko, baliktadan yun no kwa, reciprocal. So, ni x tatay numerator, agbalin niya denominator. So, therefore, ni sine 30 tayo, your sine 30 is just equal to 1/2. Sine 30 is equal to 1/2. Limot nga rod ko, sine 30. Ni cosine tayo, if kitaan tayo ti formula, is just your AH. Ket ti AH nga kung kuna tayo is your adjacent over height. So, ni cosine, wait lang, okay. Ni cosine 30 is just equal to your adjacent over height. Now, the adjacent tayo, the value na get x over or x square root of 3 all over 2. The hypotenuse tayo all over x. So, connected tayo, if ag-divide kat kastoy, Ti obraam no kapelang is determine your numerator and denominator. Datit buo nga numerator mo, datit denominator. So no ag-divide ka tila obraem, kopyaem, copy your numerator, and then multiply it to the reciprocal of your denominator. Ti denominator tayo kat x. So nga dapat tila nga na deta ket ni x gamin equals so na ti x over 1. Ket ti reciprocal pag sin no katem. So agbalin nga 1 over x. And then maikat deta. So tilang mabatin ket square root of 3 all over 2. So ang cosine 30 degrees natin is equal to square root of 3 all over 2. Paano naman kaya si tangent? Ni tangent theta met, tangent theta. Let's just erase para at least we have space. Okay. Ni met tangent theta, looking at our given, ti tangent theta tayo ket ni opposite over adjacent. So, syempre, isip ko sa rin tayo. Opposite over adjacent. Now, imagine or look at your figure. The opposite tayo is your x over 2. Adjacent tayo is x square root of 3 all over 2. Basta dito yung numerator, that's your surat tayo, tapos maaawatan nyo that's your numerator, and this is your whole denominator. So, ang gagawin nyo muna is to copy your numerator times the reciprocal of your denominator. So, instead of writing x square root of 3 over 2, baliktadan nyo. Deto'y mapanjay nga to, deto'y mapanijay baba. So, agbalin nga 2 over, that's not 2. 2 over x square root of 3. Which is, no kitkitain nyo maikat deta, makancel pa deta. So, tilang no kumabatin ket 1 square root of 3. Or, if sir, ano tayo manen? 1 over square root of 3. Deta't value na. 0.58. So, 0.58. That is your tan 30. Equals so nati 1 over square root of 3 or 0.58. Another one. What if timet sarakan tayo ket DJ given or DJ reciprocals da? Kung natin tatay, reciprocals are just nakabaliktaran. Okay? So, saying na ti cosecant tayo, isot kabaliktaran ti sine. So, 1 over sine theta. Ket ti 1 or sine theta tayo tatay, kitaan tayo ditoy, ti sine theta tayo ket 1/2. So, 1 over 1/2 is equal to 1 times 2 over 1. Or 1 times 2 is equal to 2. So, ni cosecant 30 tayo kano, kat equal so na ti 2. That equal na. Ni nga rod met secant 30. Ni secant 30, ti kabaliktaran nat secant of being ket ay cosine. So, 1 over cosine theta. Now, ti cosine theta tayo nga naalat at tay, get square root of 3 over 2. So, square root of 3 all over 2. Or, basta lang, 1 over 1, which is your numerator, times rebaliktad or reciprocal ni square root of 3 over 2. So, ag sinukat dalat ayan. So, that would give you 2 square root of 3 or, no i-calculator mo manen, di maalam no kwan ket 3.46. So 3.46. That at second. How about our tangent or cotangent? Ni cotangent tayo is just equal to your 1 tangent theta. Ket tangent theta tayo tatay, ket 0.58 or 1 over square root of 3. So 1 over square root of 3. So tilang lang na deta ket 1 times square root of 3 over 1. When nuhaan ket 1 times square root of 3. Kasi nga any number na the denominator na ket 1 is equal to itself. So that will be your equal, or that will be equal to square root of 3. So that means your cotangent 30 degrees is equal to square root of 3. Okay? Wait lang. Now, let's try to solve your triangle including lahat ng natutunan natin on SOHCAHTOA and also your Pythagorean theorem. So first, sabi dito, the example 1 is we're going to find for the measure of the missing angle. The missing angle tayo, iso detoy, awan ditoy. Since detoy 30 degrees, detoy, amu tayo nga detoy ket 90 degrees. So detoy ti awan. We're going to find for the value of your missing angle. Next is we're going also to find for the missing sides. So ti missing sides tayo ket ni hypotenuse and one of your legs. Awan pay ni A mo. Say nga ni B is equal to 7. So first, timasapol tayo or tikaya tayo nga obraen ket masarakan ni X. Kasi di ba, tinagyan na iti mesa nga uneg iti triangle is always 180. So if the sum of all triangles is 180, given nga the 30 degrees can 90 degrees mon, tiubraan tayo lang yan ket ag minus. So ni X tayo will be equal to 180 degrees minus 90 degrees kasi given and also minus 30 degrees kasi also given na siya. Now, simplifying 180 degrees minus 120 degrees. Or, that's just equal to 60 degrees. Therefore, our X here is equal to 60. Kaya't nasa N, dito yung X ita, equal so na it is 60 degrees. Now, kasano tayo matngarod nga maala ni H ken ni A? First, since given deto'y 7 dito'y baban, given deto'y, ag-imagine tayo. Using our SOHCAHTOA. So, may I use another color para at least you have a lot to see? May I use the green one? So, okay. So this is your SOHCAHTOA. Now, this is your hypotenuse, dito yung awan nga mesa nga side, and this is your 7. Imagine nga ti usaram nga angle ket ni 30 degrees. Kaan-ano ni 30 degrees ni 7? Di ba? Kaab-abay na. Therefore, adjacent. So, tatan, ket ti sarasarakan tayo ket ni hypotenuse. So, using your 30 degrees, anang arod ti usaran tayo? Is it sine, cosine, or theta? Tapnon ti usarem ket adjacent ken hypotenuse. So, since the adjacent ken hypotenuse tayo falls on the cosine, iso nga tinukausaran tayon is cosine 30 is just equal to your adjacent over hypotenuse. Now, ti adjacent tayo ket ni 7, ni hypotenuse tayo ket awan. Iso nga h. So now, kasla tayo inubra tayo tatay, tilang ibati tayo ita mesa nga side is your h. So if you have your cosine 30 is equal to 7 over h, wait, tapnon maibati ni h itabangir, i-multiply tayo iti h, tapnon maikat ditagban di bangir, tapos i-multiply tayo pelang, tapnon agbalin nga h cosine 30 degrees equals 7. Kasi nga nukwa, makancel deta. Ngayon, kayat tayo mabati ket ni h. So nga, i-divide tayo manen, i-divide tayo manen both sides by 1 over cosine 30 degrees. Tapnon maikat met detoy. So, tatan, tinukwalanganan ket 1 over cosine 30 h cosine 30 equal to 7 over cosine 30. Makancel out data kundi jay, tilang no kwa mabatin ket ni h which is equal to your 7 over cosine 30. Now, using your calculator, 7 over cosine 30 is equal to this value. So, equal na kat 8.0829 or 8.08. Therefore, ni h tayo kat equal to 8.08. So, tatan mabalintay sukatanen. Ni 8 tayo kanokit si 8.08. So, tila awanen ket ni A. Anamet nga rod ti A tayo. Kajay manen. Imagine nga ti usaron tayo manen ket ni 30 degrees. Kaan-ano ni 30 degrees? DJ adda nga value which is 7. Kunjay awan nga ni A. Since ni 7 ket adjacent na, kan ni A ket opposite na, ni 30 degrees, ayan na kadigito'y so katowa, iti mabalintay usaren, nga adda ti adjacent ken opposite na. Of course, tilang adda ket ni towa, adjacent ken opposite. So, for us to find for the value of your, let's erase. For us to find naman for the value of your missing A, usaran tayo dijay tan 30 degrees. So, erase. Kailang. So that we have space. Okay. So, your tan 30 is equal to your opposite over adjacent. Ket ti opposite tayo, ket ni A. Ti adjacent tayo, ket ni 7. Now, tapnon agbati laeng ni A itabangir, tilang mabalinti nga pumayanen is to multiply both sides by 7, tapnon maikat dito 7 ti baba. So, if ag-multiply tayo both sides by 7, tinukwalanganan ket 7 tan 30 degrees all over, makancel data A. So, ipasok yun lang data, iti calculator yo, and you will be getting 0.0 or 4.04. Therefore, ni A tayo equal to 4.04. So 4.04. So therefore, the A tayo, maikatitan kasi the value ni A yan is 4.04. Okay? So another example para maawatan. Okay. Nandun naman tayo sa example number 2. Now, sabi niya dito, a given right triangle has one angle of 60. So, isa sa mga triangles natin is 60 at saka yung hypotenuse daw niya is 20. So, say na hindi niyo alam yung drawing niya, imagine niyo. Kung natin tatay, your hypotenuse is always the slanting one. So, iso na kanuti 20. And one of the angles is 60. Since right triangle na, syempre, adakastoy na. That's your 90 degrees. And then, one of these two is equal to 60. So, deta kanut 60 degrees. Now, using the given measurements, find for the missing values. So, ti awan tayo, nukit-kitaan tayo't awan detoy, ken dete mesa nga angle. So, ti awan tayo is your two sides, which is AB, tapos ti mesa nga angle. So, kung natin tatay, yung natin nga mabalin nga alain is your angle. Kasi tilang obraan tayo is ag minus. So, yung x natin is equal to 180 degrees minus 60 degrees minus 90 degrees. So, that will be equal to 180 degrees minus 100, manunok pa? 150. 150 degrees. So that is equal to your 30 degrees. Therefore, ang ibig niya lang sabihin, your x here, dito sa drawing, is equal to 30 degrees. We are now ready to find for the values of your A and B using your TOA. Okay. First, consider yung being ket data given. The given tayo nga is your 60. So, if I'm going to look at the given at the TH. So, at the ni H, tilang mabalintay nga usaren no kwan ket it's either so or ka kasi sulat at the H na. Tatan, no ni B ti alaen nyo, ana ba ni 60 ni B? Kan ano ba ni 60 degrees ni B? Since kaabay na, therefore, adjacent. So, sarakan nyo no anat pangusaran nyo ti adjacent ken hypotenuse. Ditoy, so, ken ka. Makita yung nga ti agusar ti adjacent ken hypotenuse ket ni cosine. So, isut usaran tayo. So, ti cosine tayo, cosine 60 no kwa kasi isut angle. Cosine 60 is equal to your adjacent over height. So, ti adjacent tayo ket ni B. Ti height tayo ket 20. So, for us to get for the value of B, i-multiply tayo lang both sides, iti 20. So, cosine 60 equals to not B over 20. Aya, both sides, i-multiply tayo iti 20, tapnon maikat deta data baba. So, agbalindok ko nga 20 cosine 60 all over or is equal to ma-cancel B. Now, using your calculators, i-insert yung 20 cosine 60. Agbalin nga ti makita yung ket 10. So, ni B tay kano, ket equal to 10. Sut na alatay nga value. Sut na alatay nga value ni B. So, nag-substitute tayo dito nga to. Ni B tayo, which is detoy, agbalin nga 10. Now, ni A mo ti awanen. So using your 60, can ni hypotenuse, ni A tayo ket just the opposite of 60. So anangarod ti usaran nga function no ti involve ket ni opposite ken hypotenuse. Of course, it's your sine. So sine 60 kano ni sine 60 is equal to, so opposite over hypotenuse. Ket the opposite tayo ket ni A, the hypotenuse tayo ket 20. So for you to find for the value of your opposite and hypotenuse, of course, usaran tayo ket your or we can multiply both sides by 20. So balin nga sine 60 A over 20. Multiply both sides, iti 20. Tapnon makancel deta. Agbalin nga 20 sine 60 is equal to your A. Or, if we calculator tayo, 20 sine 60 is just equal to 10 square root of 3 or 17.32. So 17.32. Isunok kwa deta, iti value ni A. 17.32. And nasarakan tayo amin eh. Okay? Now, another one. What if iti awan ket angle? So we're going to find for the angle. First, kitaan nyo pala ta drawing. Ito yung drawing at ni hypotenuse. So that iti hypotenuse tayo. Ginagislan. At dapat yung mesa nga angle. Let's say A. Ti awan or B gayam. Kasi ti awan ni side A. Now, before nga mausar tayo, dito yung angle alpha, tinukwapela obraen nyo, if haan namit damdamagan gayam, hanyo sarsarakan ni A yan. Yung no damdamagan nga sarakan nyo pa ni A, Pythagorean theorem no kwan. So for you to find the A, malagip yun that C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. Where is this is your C? So kasda lang mo kote pumayan yun ket 11 squared is equal to A squared plus 5 squared. So 121, which is equal to A squared plus 25. So 121 minus 25 kasi iniyakar mo is equal to A squared. So 96 is equal to A squared. Yung A lat sarsarako, miso nga A square root mo. Tapnon maikat dijay. Tinukwag batin kat A 96. Isunukwat measurement na dito nga length. Yung tisar-sarakang tegamin is not the length. What we're looking for is the angle. So sarakong tekanot measurement na ni angle. Tata, hante mausar DJ 180 minus something kasi awan met ti given nga mesang angle. So tiubraan tayo no ko anak ko is kastoy. Using your SOHCAHTOA, using this one, kaan-ano ni angle, kaan-ano dito nga angle ni 11 can ni 5. Amo tayo nga ni 11 ni hypotenuse suna. So tilang mabalinte usaran dito yan SOHCAHTOA ket the hypotenuse na. Oops, nalipatak page. Nilang ada hypotenuse nan. So it's either ni so or ni ka. Tatan, kaan-ano ni angle mo dito yung 5? Opposite ba or adjacent? Since kaabay na, meaning adjacent. So ayan na ken ni sine no cosine, timangos ko sarti adjacent ken hypotenuse. Of course, it's your cosine. Kasi ni cosine mo, Kasi yung cosine natin, cosine alpha, is equal to your adjacent over hypotenuse. So, ni cosine alpha tayo, substitute tayo lang. Ni cosine alpha tayo, kat adjacent na kat ni 5, hypotenuse na kat 11. So, for us to find for that value of your alpha, kasi nukwat obraan nyo anak ko, since this is your cosine alpha, which is equal to 5 over 11, pipilyan nyo no kwan kat agbalin nga cosine kastoy. So, instead of using detoy, iusaran nyo no kwa kat dijay, adda kastoy na. Adda ti cosine raised to negative 1. Tapos, tilang ipan mo nga value na kat 5 over 11. So, if you substitute or compute yung na using your calculator, so cosine inverse 5 over 11, deti ti agparang nga value. 62.96. So, meaning, ni 62.96 is the angle. Degrees. Isunok ko dito yung angle. Your alpha is equal to 62.96 degrees. Okay. And the last example, tapnon mas maawatan nyo. Okay. This one. So, given that you have here, say you know your so katawan na. You already know your so ka. Tapos ni towa. If haanda nga saraken, dyan missing side, hanyo saraken. Since tilang given dito nga question is find for the value of the angle alpha, jila angle ti saraken. So, tatan, ti obraan nyo no kaan nakko kat kastoy. Imagine nyo no kaan ano deta angle yo, deta adda nga value. So, since ti adda nga value tayo ket dua nga legs, awan ni hypotenuse, meaning hante mausar ni soken ka kasi awan met ni hypotenuse. Ti adda, tay duwa nga sides. Ngem anat opposite, anat adjacent. So, dated angle tayo, di kaabay na, isot adjacent. Di kabaliktaran na, isot ti opposite. So, ti usaran tayo lang yan nga mabalinin ket ni tan. So, therefore, tan alpha is equal to your opposite over adjacent. Now, opposite over adjacent is just equal to your 8 over 2 or 4. Ngayon, sarsarakan tayo, haan nga deta. Sarsarakan tayo, kiti value detoy, alpha. So, kasla tayo nabratay tatay, ibati tayo ni alpha ta, ni tan tayo, instead of using tan inverse ti usaren, tapos 4. So, nausaran tayo tan inverse 4, datat agparang nga value. Agparang ket 75.96. So, nino ko 75.96. Sunokot measure ni angle. So, nga dapat naka-decrease. So, therefore, dito angle tayo is just equal, dito angle here is equal to 74 or 75 rather, 0.96. And that is how you get the different trigonometric functions, the different angles, and the different sides of your right triangles and acute triangles. So, natackle or natapos ko na lahat ng scope ng exam ninyo. So, for as long as you understand our topic, you will be able to understand also your examination. So, better prepare for your exam. Please always follow instruction and have a complete set of your solutions. Use your calculators. If you don't have this calculator or Bing, you have a lot or you have tons of application doon sa inyong phones. So you can download some applications on your phones para at least you have calculators to use. Preferably scientific kasi nga gagamit tayo ng mga cosine, gagamit tayo ng tangent, so on and so forth. So scientific yung maaari nating gamitin. Okay, so I hope that you'll be doing good on your examination and I wish you luck. I wish you good luck. So I will see you after your midterm examination.